Today we are going to talk about something that can truly change your English speaking life if you practice it every single day with patience and trust. Many English learners study for years, but when it is time to speak, they suddenly feel nervous, confused, and unable to express even simple thoughts clearly. If this has happened to you before, please know that you are not failing, and you are not too slow to become fluent. The truth is that many learners practice English in ways that do not help real speaking confidence grow naturally over time. They focus too much on memorizing rules and not enough on using English in calm and meaningful daily practice. Real fluency is not built by pressure, and it is not built by trying to sound perfect every time you open your mouth. Real fluency grows quietly through simple repetition, daily exposure, and small moments of courage that happen little by little. This is why today's practice is very important for your English journey and for your confidence as a speaker. You do not need advanced vocabulary to speak naturally, and you do not need perfect grammar to communicate clearly. What you need is regular practice that helps your brain connect English to your real daily life. This is how English stops feeling like a school subject and starts feeling like a natural part of your thinking. And this is where real transformation begins for learners who finally become confident speakers. Take a moment now and sit comfortably wherever you are right now. Relax your shoulders and let your body feel calm and steady. You do not need to rush because English grows best when the mind feels relaxed and open. When your mind is calm, words come more easily and memory becomes stronger. This is why we practice slowly today, one thought at a time, one sentence at a time, and one step at a time. Now imagine that it is early morning, and the sun is beginning to shine through your window. You open your eyes and slowly wake up to a peaceful new day. This is the first moment to practice English naturally. You can say to yourself, "Good morning. Today is a new opportunity to improve my English." Repeat that sentence slowly and clearly in your mind. Feel the meaning of each word as if you are speaking to yourself with kindness and encouragement. This simple habit teaches your brain to begin the day thinking directly in English. That is the difference between studying English and living English. Most learners wait for study time before they practice, but strong learners use ordinary life as their classroom. When you wake up, you can describe what you feel and what you see around you. You might say, "The room is quiet, the air feels cool, and the morning feels peaceful." These are simple sentences, but they are powerful because they connect English to real experience. This is how your brain learns to think naturally without translating from your first language. At first, this may feel slow, and your mind may struggle to find the right words. That is completely normal, and this is part of the learning process. Do not judge yourself during these moments because progress often feels uncomfortable before it feels easy. Every time you search for words, your brain is building stronger English pathways. That small effort is creating real growth inside your mind even when you cannot see it immediately. This is why daily practice matters more than perfect performance. Little by little, your brain becomes faster and your confidence becomes stronger. Now imagine that you stand up and walk to the bathroom to begin your morning routine. As you wash your face, describe the action in English. You can say, "The water feels cold and fresh, and it helps me wake up." When you brush your teeth, you can say, "I am brushing my teeth and getting ready for the day." When you look in the mirror, you can say, "I am improving every day, and I am becoming more confident in English." This kind of self-talk is very powerful for language growth and emotional confidence. Many learners speak negatively to themselves when they make mistakes, and this creates fear. Fear blocks fluency because a nervous mind cannot think clearly. But encouragement creates safety, and safety helps language flow naturally. This is why you must become your own patient and supportive English teacher every single day. Speak to yourself with respect, calmness, and trust in your progress. You are learning something valuable, and learning always takes time. Fluency is not built in one day, but it is built every day through steady and simple practice. And today, with this small practice, you are already becoming a stronger English speaker little by little. Now that your day has started and your mind feels more awake, this is the perfect time to continue building your English naturally through simple daily actions. Many learners believe they need special lessons, expensive courses, or difficult textbooks to improve their speaking skills. But the truth is that some of the best English practice happens during ordinary moments that you already experience every day. This is why daily routine practice is one of the most powerful ways to become fluent little by little. When English becomes part of your normal life, it begins to feel natural instead of difficult. This is where many learners fail because they separate English from real life. They study for 1 hour and then completely stop using English for the rest of the day. As a result, English feels like work instead of communication. The real goal is not to study English only sometimes. The real goal is to live small moments of English every single day. This is how confidence grows quietly and naturally over time. Now imagine that you are choosing your clothes for the day. Look at each piece of clothing and describe it in English. You might say, "This shirt looks comfortable and soft." You can also say, "These pants are clean and ready to wear." If the weather feels cold, you can say, "I need a warm jacket today." These simple observations help your brain connect English to immediate reality. This is exactly how children learn language, naturally through direct connection with life. You are training your mind to do the same thing now. At first, this may feel strange because your brain wants to translate everything first. This is completely normal, and it happens to almost every learner. Translation feels safe because it is familiar, but it also makes speaking slower and more stressful. The more you practice direct English thinking, the less your brain depends on translation. This is how real speaking speed develops over time. Now imagine that you walk into the kitchen to prepare breakfast. This is another perfect moment to practice natural English. As you open the refrigerator, you can say, "I am looking for something to eat." When you see fruit, you can say, "The apples look fresh and sweet today." When you pour coffee or tea, you can say, "The drink smells warm and comforting." As you prepare food, describe every small action slowly and clearly. You might say, "I am cutting bread carefully." You can also say, "I am making a simple breakfast for myself." As you sit down to eat, notice how the food tastes and feels. Then describe it in English. You could say, "The bread is soft and warm." Or perhaps, "The coffee tastes strong and rich." This kind of daily speaking practice feels simple, but it is building something powerful inside your brain. You are teaching yourself to connect English directly to experience. That connection is what creates natural fluency. Without this connection, English remains only information inside a textbook. But with daily connection, English becomes alive and useful. This is why small practice matters so much. Never underestimate simple repetition because small steps create big change over time. Most learners quit because they expect immediate results. They practice for a short time and then feel disappointed when fluency does not arrive quickly. But language growth is like planting a tree. At first, progress is invisible beneath the surface. Roots are growing quietly before anything appears above the ground. Your English is growing in the same way right now. Every sentence you practice is strengthening your foundation. Every repetition is making your thinking faster and your confidence stronger. Little by little, day by day, your fluency is becoming real even if you cannot fully see it yet. This is why patience is one of the most important skills for every successful English learner. And with every simple moment of daily practice, you're becoming exactly the kind of speaker you want to become. Now let us go deeper into one of the most important skills for real fluency, and that skill is learning to think directly in English without translating every word first. This is where many learners feel stuck even after years of study, because translation creates a wall between thought and speech. When your brain translates first, speaking becomes slow, stressful, and unnatural. You know what you want to say, but your mind becomes busy searching for the perfect translation. Then fear appears, and suddenly your confidence disappears. This is why so many learners freeze during conversations, even when they know enough English to speak. The real problem is not lack of knowledge. The real problem is mental habit. Your brain has practiced translating for so long that it believes this is the only way to speak. But this habit can change little by little with daily practice. You do not need to force your mind aggressively. You only need calm and steady repetition. This is how new language habits are created naturally. Imagine now that you are walking outside to begin your day. The air touches your face, and the world is moving around you. This is a perfect moment to practice direct English thinking. Look around and describe what you see immediately in English. You might say, "The sky looks bright and clear this morning." You could also say, "People are walking quickly to work." Perhaps you notice trees moving in the wind. Then you can say, "The leaves are dancing softly in the breeze." Do not stop to search for perfect vocabulary. Use simple words that come naturally. This is how direct thinking begins. Many learners make the mistake of waiting for advanced vocabulary before speaking freely. But real fluency grows from simple language used confidently and often. Simple English is not weak English. Simple English is powerful because it communicates clearly and naturally. This is why you must trust simple words. They are the foundation of strong communication. As you continue walking, notice how your thoughts begin to move more easily. At first, your mind may pause often. You may forget words or feel uncertain. That is normal and completely part of the process. Do not stop when this happens. Keep going with whatever words you know. Your brain learns through movement and repetition, not through perfection. For example, if you forget the word for something, describe it another way. If you forget umbrella, you can say, the thing people use when it rains. This teaches flexibility, which is a very important speaking skill. Fluent speakers do this naturally all the time. They keep communicating even when exact words are missing. That is confidence. And confidence grows through practice, not through waiting. Now imagine that you arrive at work or school. As you enter the building, describe what you are doing. You might say, I am opening the door and walking inside. You can also say, today feels busy, but I feel ready. These simple thoughts strengthen your direct English thinking throughout the day. Every small moment becomes useful practice. This is how English slowly becomes part of your natural inner voice. And when that happens, speaking becomes smoother, faster, and far less stressful than before. Little by little, your brain begins to trust English as a real language for living, thinking, and expressing who you truly are. Now we arrive at one of the most important parts of your English journey, and this is learning how to speak without fear even when your confidence still feels small. Many learners study English for years and understand many grammar rules. But when it is time to speak, fear suddenly appears and blocks every word they want to say. This fear often feels stronger than logic because even when you know the answer, your mind becomes frozen and your voice becomes quiet. If this happens to you, please understand that this does not mean your English is weak or that your learning is failing. This only means your mind is still learning to feel safe while using English in real communication. Speaking is not only about vocabulary and grammar, because speaking is also deeply connected to emotion and confidence. When fear enters the mind, it becomes difficult for your brain to organize language naturally and clearly. This is why even strong learners sometimes forget easy words during conversation and feel frustrated afterward. The real problem is usually not lack of knowledge, but lack of emotional comfort while speaking. This is why building speaking confidence is just as important as learning grammar and vocabulary. You must teach your mind that English is not something dangerous or stressful, but something natural and safe to use every day. This emotional training happens through small speaking practice repeated many times with patience and kindness toward yourself. You do not build confidence by waiting until fear disappears completely because confidence grows through action while fear is still present. This is the same way a person learns courage in any area of life, by taking small action again and again. At first your voice may shake, your thoughts may feel slow, and your answers may feel incomplete. This is completely normal, and it is part of becoming stronger. No one becomes fluent by speaking perfectly from the beginning, because every strong speaker once felt nervous too. The difference is that they continued speaking even when it felt uncomfortable and uncertain. Every time they spoke, their brain learned that communication was possible and fear slowly became weaker. This exact process can happen for you as well if you practice with trust and consistency. Imagine now that someone smiles at you and asks a very simple question like how your day is going. This moment often feels bigger than it really is because fear makes small situations feel difficult and heavy. Your mind may suddenly start searching for perfect grammar instead of simply communicating naturally. When this happens, remind yourself that simple communication is always enough. Take one calm breath and allow yourself to answer with easy, natural English. You can say that your day is going well and that you are feeling productive and calm today. This answer is simple, useful, and completely enough for real conversation. You do not need advanced words to create connection because people respond more to clarity than complexity. Many learners think they must impress others with difficult vocabulary, but real conversation is usually built with simple, direct language. Strong communication is not about sounding like a textbook, but about expressing real thoughts clearly and confidently. This is why simple English is one of the greatest tools for building natural speaking ability. Each time you answer simply and successfully, your confidence grows a little stronger inside. That small success teaches your brain that English is possible and safe to use. Over time, these small successes become powerful evidence that you are truly improving. This evidence slowly replaces fear with trust in your own ability. Then speaking begins to feel lighter, smoother, and more natural than before. You may still make mistakes sometimes, but mistakes will no longer feel like danger or failure. Instead, mistakes will feel like useful teachers guiding your growth forward. This emotional change is one of the clearest signs that real fluency is beginning to develop. Fluency does not begin when mistakes disappear, because fluency begins when fear no longer controls your voice. That is the moment when your English starts becoming truly alive and usable. This transformation happens quietly through daily speaking practice that feels small, but creates deep change over time. Every short conversation becomes another step toward becoming the confident English speaker you want to be. Every sentence you speak is proof that progress is happening even if it still feels imperfect today. Remember that confidence is not something people are born with, because confidence is something they build through repeated action. You are building that confidence right now each time you practice and continue moving forward. Little by little your voice will become steadier and your thoughts will become faster and clearer. Little by little speaking will feel more natural and far less frightening than it once did. And one day you will notice that the fear that once stopped you has become only a small memory from your past. That is the power of steady daily practice, and that is exactly where your English journey is leading you now. Now we are entering the stage where your English begins to feel less like study and more like a natural part of your daily life and personal expression. This is where many learners finally begin to notice real progress, because their practice becomes automatic instead of forced and stressful. Natural fluency does not appear suddenly like magic after one lesson or 1 week of practice. It grows slowly through repetition that feels simple, calm, and consistent over many ordinary days. This is why daily repetition is one of the strongest tools for becoming a confident English speaker. Many learners misunderstand repetition because they think repeating simple sentences is boring or too easy to create growth. But the truth is that repetition builds automatic thinking, and automatic thinking is the foundation of fluent speech. When your brain repeats useful English often enough, speaking begins to happen naturally without heavy effort or translation. This is exactly how native-like speaking rhythm begins to develop over time. Imagine that you are sitting quietly in the afternoon after finishing some work or study. This is the perfect time for a short speaking practice session that strengthens everything you have learned today. You do not need a complicated lesson or difficult exercises during this time. You only need your voice, your thoughts, and your willingness to practice. Begin by describing what happened earlier in your day using simple natural English. You might say that you woke up early, prepared breakfast, answered messages, and focused on your tasks. Then describe how the day made you feel and what thoughts stayed in your mind. You could say that the day felt productive and peaceful, or perhaps challenging but useful for growth. This kind of reflection trains your speaking ability while connecting English to real memory and personal experience. That connection makes language stronger and easier to recall later during conversation. Now describe what you plan to do next. You might say that you will read for a while, prepare dinner, take a walk, or relax before sleeping. This simple exercise teaches your brain to move naturally between past, present, and future ideas in English. That flexibility is an important part of real speaking fluency. At first, your sentences may feel slow and limited, and this is completely normal. Do not judge your speed, because speed grows naturally when repetition becomes strong enough. Trying to force speed too early often creates tension and mistakes. The goal is not fast speaking, but relaxed speaking. Relaxed speaking becomes smooth speaking, and smooth speaking becomes natural fluency. This is why patience is one of your greatest strengths as a learner. Each calm repetition is strengthening your ability even when progress feels invisible. Think of fluency like water slowly shaping stone over time. The change is quiet and gradual, but it becomes powerful through consistency. This is exactly what your daily English practice is doing inside your mind right now. Every sentence is shaping stronger language pathways little by little. Now imagine speaking to a friend about your day. You tell them what happened, how you felt, and what you learned. At first this may feel like practice, but over time it begins to feel real and natural. This is because your brain is learning to trust English as a real tool for communication. That trust is one of the deepest signs of language growth. Once trust becomes strong, your speaking becomes lighter and freer. You stop worrying about every word and begin focusing on meaning instead. That is when English begins to feel alive inside you. This is the point where many learners finally realize that fluency was never about perfection. It was always about connection, consistency, and courage. The courage to speak simply. The consistency to practice daily. The connection between English and your real-life experience. These three things create lasting fluency more powerfully than endless grammar study alone. And with each day you continue practicing this way, your English becomes stronger, smoother, and more naturally yours. Now we are at the final part of this journey, and this is the moment where everything you have practiced starts to connect into something deeper, something more stable, and something more real inside your English learning experience. You may not feel like a fluent speaker yet, but something important has already changed inside you simply because you stayed with this practice until the end. Many learners never reach this point because they stop too early when progress still feels slow and unclear. But you are still here, and that already shows a different mindset, a learner's mindset that is patient, steady, and willing to grow step by step. And this is exactly how real English fluency is built, not in sudden moments, but in repeated daily choices that look small but become powerful over time. Now I want you to understand something very important about your journey. You do not need to feel perfect to be improving. You do not need to speak fast to be progressing. And you do not need to know every word to communicate effectively. Fluency is not a final destination that suddenly appears one day. Fluency is a gradual transformation that happens quietly in the background of your daily life. Every time you try to speak in English, even in your mind, you are strengthening your ability. Every time you repeat a simple sentence, you are training your brain to think more naturally. And every time you continue even when it feels difficult, you are building real confidence that lasts. Now take a moment and think about your own progress. Maybe you started this journey feeling unsure, slow, or afraid of making mistakes. Maybe you often translated everything in your mind before speaking, and that made you feel stuck. Maybe you avoided speaking because you thought your English was not good enough yet. But something has already started to change through this practice. You have been exposed to English in a calm, natural, and repetitive way that slowly reshapes how your brain reacts to language. And this is extremely important because language is not only knowledge, it is habit. Habits cannot change in one day, but they always change through repetition. Now imagine your future self speaking English more easily than today. Not perfectly, but comfortably. Not without mistakes, but without fear. That version of you is not far away. That version of you is being created right now through small daily actions like this. When you wake up tomorrow, try to speak a few simple English sentences again. Do not worry about complexity. Do not worry about grammar. Just describe your morning, your thoughts, and your surroundings in simple words. The goal is not perfection. The goal is connection between your mind and English. Because when your brain stops translating everything, speaking becomes lighter and more natural. And when speaking becomes natural, confidence begins to grow automatically. Now I want you to remember something very deeply. Every fluent speaker you admire once started exactly where you are now. They also struggled. They also felt slow. They also made mistakes every single day. But they continued anyway. And that continuation is what created their fluency, not talent, not luck, but repetition and patience. You are already on that same path. Even if your progress feels small, it is real. Even if your speaking feels weak, it is improving. Even if your confidence feels low, it is growing quietly inside you. And one day, you will look back at this moment and realize that this simple daily practice was the beginning of everything. So keep going forward gently. Keep speaking even when it feels uncomfortable. Keep practicing even when results feel slow. Because fluency belongs to those who continue, not those who stop. And right now, you are someone who continues. You are someone who is learning. You are someone who is improving little by little every day. And that is enough. More than enough to become fluent in the future. So stay calm, stay consistent, and trust your process. Your English is already growing, even now, even quietly, even slowly, and that is exactly how real transformation begins.